Let's say there is a bond with a maturity of 5 years. The coupon is 10% and currently it is trading at 85% of par or 85. Now in the first case, case 1, we take the yield at 9%. Now based on this, we will try to understand what is the return of an investor who holds this bond till maturity. Okay. Now let's first calculate the reinvestment returns. This coupon is received at t is equal to 1. Therefore, it can compound 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So 10 into 1.09 to the power 4 plus this coupon 3 times. So 10 into 1.09 to the power 3 plus this one 2 times. 10 into 1.09 to the power 2. This is 1 times. 10 into 1.09 to the power 1, and this one will be received at the ultimate period. So this is 10. Now at the ultimate period, say the maturity amount received is at par, so this is 100. Now we come back to the calculation. This comes to be 10 into 1.09 to the power 4 is equal to 14.1158 plus 1.09 cube into 10, this is 12.95. 1.09 square into 10, this is 11.88 plus 1.09 into 10, this is 10.9 plus 10. So if you add them up, it comes to be 14.1158 plus 12.95 plus 11.88 plus 10.9 plus 10. The total comes to be 59.8458 approximately. Now the maturity amount is 100, right? Therefore, the person has paid 85 and his total return is 100 plus 59.8458. Therefore, the return to the person is, let's say the return is R. This is for how long? This is for 5 years, right? He invested at t is equal to 0. Therefore, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the compounded return comes to be expressed by this equation, where R is the return to the investor. Let's calculate this, guys. This is equal to 159.8458 by 1 plus R to the power 5. So the final answer here comes to be 159.8458 divided by 85 to the power 1 by 5. This comes to be 13.46%. So R here comes to be 13.46%. Case 2 is a case where bond is sold at t is equal to 2. Now what is the price at t is equal to 2? Let's first understand that. The bond price is basically the present value of the future cash flows. So what are the cash flows? Let's calculate, guys. At t is equal to 3 there is a cash flow 10. At t is equal to 4 there is another cash flow of 10. At t is equal to 5 there is another cash flow of 110. Now this gets divided by 1.09 cube. This gets divided by 1.09 square. This gets divided by 1.09, right? So the present value becomes, let's calculate guys, 10 divided by 1.09, this is 9.1741 plus 1.09 square inverse into 10, 8.4168 plus 84.94. So you add them up. The present value is 102.5309. This is present value at t is equal to 2. Now let us look at the reinvestment returns at t is equal to 2. So if you look at the coupon received at t is equal to 1 and t is equal to 2, you will see there is the coupon at t is equal to 1 compounds once, and the ultimate payment received is the coupon at t is equal to 2. So the reinvestment return is easy to calculate. One coupon compounds for one period and the next coupon is received at the time of sale, say. So this becomes 10.9 plus 10. So this is 20.9. Now the total return becomes 102.5309 plus 20.9. This is equal to 123.4309. 123.4309. Okay, this is the total return. Now the compounded return to the investor we can calculate easily. This is 85 is equal to 123.4309 divided by 1 plus r to the power 2. This implies r is equal to root over of 123.4309 divided by 85, this minus 1. So this comes to be 20.5%. So in the previous case the return was 13 point something, here the return is 20.5%. Okay. Now let's take another case. Case 3. The bond is held till maturity, but the yield rises to 10% from 9%. So it was 9% previously, but immediately after the purchase at t is equal to 0, the yield rises to 10%. Now what is the return? Let's understand. So number one is the reinvestment return. So I can write this first coupon is compounded 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 1.1 into 4 plus the next one, this one is compounded 3 times, 1.1 cube plus 10, this one 2 times, 1.1 square plus this one once, 10 into 1.1 plus the final coupon. Let's see what this comes to. 14.641, 13.31, 12.1, 11 plus 10. This is equal to, this comes to 61.051, and ultimately the maturity amount received is 100. Therefore total amount is 161.051, right? Because this plus this. Therefore compounded return, here the answer comes to be 161.051 divided by 85. This to the power 1 by 5. The value of R comes to be 13.63. Now if you notice in the case where the yield did not increase, the rate was somewhere around 13.4, right? Here if you see, the rate was 13.46. So the yield remained at 9%, compounded return was 13.46. Now the yield increased right after the purchase, the yield increased to 10%, and therefore the compounded return increased from 13.46 to 13.63, right? Therefore from here we can say when yield rises, the compounded return or the return to the investor is enhanced if the investor holds till maturity, right? So if the investor holds till maturity, and that also in an environment where the yield has increased, then the investor benefits in terms of returns. So the fourth case is the bond is sold at t is equal to 2 and the yield has increased right after t is equal to 1 when the bond is purchased. So we will calculate the reinvestment return and also the capital gains from the sale. Let's see. Yield rises to 10% and bond sold at t is equal to 2. Now first we will calculate the price at which the bond is sold. So that will be price of sale. This is the present value of the pending cash flows, right? So this is a pending cash flow, this is a pending cash flow, and this whole one is a pending cash flow. So we write them 10 plus 10 plus 110, and we are going to calculate their present value at t is equal to 2. So this is discounted once, this is discounted twice, and this is discounted 3 times, 1, 2, 3. So this is discounted once, 1.1, this is discounted twice, 1.1 squared, this is discounted 3 times. So this is the present value. Let's calculate the numbers. 10 divided by why 1.1, guys? Because the yield is no more 9%, it has increased to 10%. It is actually 1.10 in all these cases. So 1.1, this comes to be 9.09, this is 8.26, this is 82.64. So the total value becomes 82.64 plus 8.26 plus 9.09. This is equal to 99.99, almost 100. This is almost 100. It's a rounding error because the yield is 10% and the coupon is 10%. So naturally the price would be very close to at par, if not exactly at par. Now we calculate the reinvestment returns. So reinvestment return means the coupon at t is equal to 1, this compounds once, and this is received at the ultimate period just before the selling. Okay, so the reinvestment returns is equal to 10 into 1.1 plus 10. This is equal to 11 plus 10, which is 21. Therefore total amount received at t is equal to 2 is 121, because 100 plus 21. Therefore return is equal to, that is the compounded return is equal to 85 equals 121 by 1 plus r square. From here we can derive r, 1 plus r whole square. From here we can derive r, which is 121 by 85 root minus 1. So this is equal to 19.31. Now in the previous case when the bond was sold, the return was if you could see, in the previous case, when the bond was sold at t is equal to 2 and the yield was 1.09, the return was 20.5%. Now here the yield increased from 9% to 10%, right? The yield increased. Therefore, when the yield increased, then you sell early, you are at a loss. So we can write a postulate: when the yield increases and you sell off, then you are losing on return. It's not that you are selling off and buying a new bond at a new higher yield. It's not like that. You are just selling off and you are just calculating the yield out of that. So that is coming to be less. The reason for this reduction is capital gains goes down. Capital gains goes down more than increased return, reinvestment return, right? So the capital gains, the loss in the capital gains more than compensates for the increase in reinvestment return for that short while. So that's why the overall return is less. Instead of 20.5, it is 19.31. Okay. Now we will look at case 5. Right after the bond is purchased at t is equal to 0, the yield falls.